Hello and welcome to India Career Center, the one-stop podcast for students, professionals, parents, and guardians. In every episode, we will try to deal with a current topic that needs expert advice related to career, career guidance, and career mentoring. Please welcome your host, Dr. S.B. Mishra, to the show, and happy listening.
Hello and welcome to India Career Center with one more episode with Mr. Krishna Boddu, who has been a speaker who has done many episodes with us with his great insights into many of the important topics about career guidance. Today, we are going to talk another important topic about the career guidance. Before that, I would like to give a context of what we are going to talk. In my last few weeks of interaction with some of my mentees, what I've come across is that the young children who are in the age group, let's say, of anything between 15 to 20, they are overloaded with a lot of information through information channels, YouTube and other social media channels. And they continue to watch them very regularly, which means that they are overloaded with so much of information which they are probably seeing, and the algorithms are designed in such a manner in nowadays that whatever somebody is watching, the similar kind of subjects will keep popping up in the social media. So this is one problem where younger people are seeing a lot of things, which is good. I mean, getting knowledge about the world today is important because the concept of information receiving through different media will continue to grow. It will not going to reduce. But at the same time, one must not get carried away and think that what they are seeing in the social media is the reality. Because for young children who are in the age group between 15 to 20, they have to formally complete their education in whatever field they want to choose. Then post that, they can actually, or during those period of formal education, they can work on their likings or skill development and things like that, which can bring about some fantastic idea for future with respect to business. But while doing say, if you're in 10th grade or 11th grade or 12th grade, you cannot be dreaming about becoming the next Elon Musk. Okay, so that is one part of the context. The second part of the context is a lot of our parents are still thinking about how they have gone through the career development part or the career choice part, what they did about 25, 30 years ago. So the careers of 25, 30 years ago are no more relevant actually, because things are changing in the world of work very, very rapidly. As we know, most of the works will get automated, which are repetitive in nature. Many of the jobs will become contractual. They may not be really full-time jobs. Focus on skill rather than the job roles. And most of the organizations will actually now look at talent. Wherever talent is there, they will give work there, and they did not actually have a fixed concept of the concept of working from anywhere is actually becoming a reality already. So to discuss about these two complex topics and how one should navigate through.
Yeah, thank you, Mishra ji, for having me here once again. It's a pleasure always, and it's wonderful to create that value to the viewers and listeners about these through these sessions. And I must appreciate Mishra ji for you picking up such specific topics which are very relevant to both parents and students, and it also, there's a possibility that some of the parents and students may be thinking a little overwhelmed sometimes when we bring up these topics, because the brought up mindset or the grown up environment, though there are a lot of changes have been evolving, a lot of advancement is taking place in technology, careers, whatnot, everything. So I think this is really a very important topic, relevant to hop onto for every parent and child. So there are, I think, to get dwell into this further, though you have set the context, we should at least, of course, we could do a one-day seminar on this as a group. It is so deep because there's a lot of research, a lot of survey has been done on these factors, and there's a lot of predictions have been put forward by organizations like McKinsey, World Economic Forum, Gartner, KPMG, and futurists. Especially there are gentlemen who claim themselves as futurists and have been doing a lot of predictions based on the historical data and the developments. So this is a vast topic, but all of that put together, I would like to bring it down to very specific, line items, I may call it. What are those, some of the top 2 or 3 factors that are actually influencing the world of work, though they have already started influencing, and we might see it a little more advancement in the years to come. So that's one area that I think we should dwell upon. Point 1. Now, point number 2, what are some of the trends that we have already been witnessing, which are actually changing the world of work? And I would sum it up or give some example, the predictive examples, or some of the developments which are already happening, relating them to specific careers, per se, in the technology area, or in the healthcare area, or in the, other, agriculture area, and so on and so forth. I think that way it will give, broader understanding to both parents and students. To get further, first let us look at what are those top 2 or 3 factors that are actually influencing or helping the world of work to transform. So when the current generation parents, the parents who are having teenage children, when they started their career, it is typically about 15-20 years ago, or little earlier. The trend, majority of the trend was like, you finish your graduation, post-graduation, you get a job, which is kind of a 9 to 5 or some kind of a fixed kind of a job, and fixed hours of work to be delivered, and then you get a paycheck. And most likely, some may continue in the same role, same company, same job throughout. Some may have, couple of shifts in between as a company change or a role change, but very few would have actually changed their career, meaning leave everything what you have done and then transform yourself for something completely new. That a very little portion of them would have done. So that's how the trend or the typical way of these careers have been transforming. But believe me, based on the predictions and the research and surveys being conducted or technology advancement, the future is going to be completely different. That which the current generation, mid-career individuals who are having a teenage children wouldn't have even thought of. And of course, we would have heard this somewhere here, there, or read it somewhere. So one key factor which is influencing the world of work, which has already started, technological progress and sharing economy, or gig economy is what they call it. Technology has been rapidly progressing. And according to a prediction by McKinsey, by 2025, machines or robots will do more work than humans.
Yeah.
That's what McKinsey has predicted. And it also predicted that by 2030, 800 million jobs, I repeat, 800 million jobs could be lost to automation. That's a huge, we don't have to panic about it. Equal or more number of jobs will be created in the new areas. All the mundane, repetitive tasks will be automated. That means either a machine will take over, or a program will take over, or a system will take over. Everybody thinks law is one of the good career to kind of, venture into. Look at the, in India. And of course, there are good amount of, youngsters and parents who think of this law as a good career outside India also, but most likely in India. And there's a huge competition for that. Now, do you know Deloitte? Deloitte is one of the technology company. They have predicted that, at least in the Western world, because of this IBM Watson and many other technological advancements happening. Over 100,000 jobs, 100,000 jobs in the legal sectors could be lost to automation.
Yeah.
If somebody is thinking that I'm going to become a legal practitioner or a legal advisor, now the companies will say that, thank you so much, we have hired a machine to do it. Now you better become an advocate, okay, who can physically go into the court and then defend the case for their clients. So those are just a couple of technological advancements or the progress that is happening.
Yeah.
Now let's understand a different dimension of this technology change, which is in connection with that sharing or gig economy. We'll come to that. What is the sharing economy all about? Or let's put it this way. We all know, you go and work for a company, you get a monthly paycheck, and you continue in that job for, so 20, 30 years or 15 years, you change your company and all that. Now, sharing and gig economy, in a very layman terminology, you may not have a fixed job. It's basically the revenue sharing is what they call. That's how the sharing economy name. And this also has a fancy name of gig economy. I'm trying to put it in a simple words, not too jargon or technology based words. It's as simple as that. You will not have a fixed job continuously to do. That does not mean that you will not have work to do. You will still have work to do, but it will be in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
At the same time, individuals will be working as freelancers for 3 different companies.
Absolutely.
They're going to trade their time for money with 3 different companies or 4 different companies. Okay. Morning couple of hours, I'm going to be working for this company, executing this specific set of work or delivering this specific set of project or this specific task. Now, afternoon, I will take a couple more hours and work on another project. This is for another company. And in the evening, I will develop something on my own. I will build something on my own.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at on the given work day of 8 to 10 hours, individuals will be working in 3 different jobs in 3 different for 3 different companies. Let's put it that way.
Or three different contracts.
Contracts for all probability. So the freelance work, contract-based work, this is more of a dynamic work.
Just to put it, professional contracts.
Yeah, professional contracts. Yeah.
Yes.
So put it that way, that makes easy. So this is how it is going to change. So the point to be noted, sharing economy or gig economy and the technological advancements is the crucial factor that is influencing the world of work. Technology advancement is actually automating all the repetitive mundane tasks. Sharing gig economy is pushing both the employer and the employee towards shareable, resource sharing, skill sharing. How much are we aware? Are we still thinking? Are we still thinking with the mindset of early 90s, thinking that I finished my engineering? Even my son or a daughter would finish engineering or do some science-based course, and obviously they're going to get into some kind of work. It still may be true, but it is going to be very dynamic. Don't expect it to be the way we have been doing it. So if we are not ready, now the question could be, okay, let it change. We have come across so many changes and our next generation is smart enough to adapt those changes. Now, the biggest question is, are we informed? How many of us are informed about COVID is going to happen in our lifetime? Zero. Except for a few, those professionals in the medical or a research field. I mean, they're not sure about it. But as a common man, are we aware? No. And how difficult or challenging was it for us to adapt to this new normal in our life? So let's look at it, from that perspective, my friends here. So it's very important. Technological advancements is changing the job landscape altogether. The gig economy and sharing economy, this is going to be the new normal in the work. Let's put it that way. Not because of COVID, because of the overall, enhancements or the development that is taking place. So this is factor number one, that as parents, as students, we all should be aware of. Or you may want to call it as a trend. I would still call it as a factor. Let's look at earlier we were applying, until recent past, until 5 years ago, until 8 years ago, everybody who was looking for a job or work, they were applying or they were looking for a role to perform.
Yes.
I am going to perform a role of a software engineer. I'm going to perform a role of a surgeon. I'm going to perform a role of a lawyer. I'm looking for a role of some X, Y, or Z. This is how it has been. Now, gone are the days already, my friends. Let's understand. It will be no longer role. It will be all based on skill.
Yes.
Now, the role concept is already diminishing, and it is it's eventually going to get away. It is going to be skills. And mind you, it is nothing to do with the COVID pandemic. This transformation has already started. Now here, I would like to, quote something, a famous quote from, I believe this is from Charles Darwin. It is neither the strongest nor the fittest will survive. Actually, it is the one which is adaptable to change who's going to survive. Yeah. This is a famous quote from Charles Darwin. It is apt. And COVID has given us enough lessons. Those who are able to quickly adapt to this online virtual world were able to transform, could actually see some sustenance, not so much of dip in their revenues. Those who are not, they felt lost in the game. Of course, slowly everybody learned the tricks and trades. Right? So that's how it is. So it is no longer roles. The job landscape or the work landscape, more than saying a job, is actually going to be the skill based. So the focus will be less on roles, my friends, and it will be more on the skills. And skills, we can't settle down with a specific technical skill. We have to build a lot of in our children as parents, as grown-ups. So we have to take time and educate them. First of all, we should be informed about it. Build those skills. As elders and parents, it is our responsibility to inculcate certain 21st century skills if we wish our children to succeed in their lives, in their careers. And these skills are not only to survive in the workspace, even to survive as an individual in the growing, advanced society.
Yeah.
Advanced environment. I would take one more, aspect of it. There's something called a hybrid working. This is another factor which is actually trending. We go to office at a fixed time and log in and log out at a fixed time and then deliver. Of course, depending on the role, some of us used to travel beyond field and all, but still, this is how it is. It was. Now, what will be the future, or what is the evolution that is taking place? Let's elaborate a little bit here. There are three main models when we talk about work. Okay, there are centralized workplaces, there are decentralized or remote organizations, and the new normal is the best of both worlds, which we call it as a hybrid. Now, in the years to come, which we have already been seeing, but in the years to come, nobody is going to care from where you are delivering your work, from where you are discharging your duties, unless a specific set of careers where your physical presence is required.
Yeah.
But a majority of them, whether you have delivered with high quality, with high standards. They don't care if you're sitting in a coffee shop or you're sitting in your home or you're on the move. As long as you're delivering it. Of course, this may not fulfill all the requirements of culture building or organization building and all, which would still require a physical presence. So this is why we are going to call it as a hybrid model of working, which is already evolving. And we have been seeing a lot of discussion in the corporate world, especially Narayan Murthy has been advocating this is not helping the remote work, or the work from home is not helping in building the organization culture or momentum towards delivering the larger goal, larger vision, which is relatively true. And I would also a big fan of that argument. But at the same time, look at the other advantages. And and I would like to touch upon some social aspect also, based on my understanding. The smaller towns and the villages are going to grow because of this.
Yes, absolutely.
It is not just going to be the havoc, the city, urban living. You look at any metro or any major city in India, it's like a hell in the traffic. Right? And we would contribute, indirectly, we would contribute to reducing that carbon footprint.
Yes.
By not polluting these larger but we may still require it. It may be some 80-20 or 70-30, that equation. I'm not an expert in that area. I think the world is trying to sort that out, but this is going to be the trend. That's how the predictions have been made.
Yeah.
Hybrid working, even schools, look at in the Western world, even the education is in a hybrid model since many years. We in our country, as per my understanding, it is that since the technology advancement has not at the pace what some of the Western countries have gone through, that is the only bottleneck. Especially the internet connectivity is only the bottleneck where we could not embrace that model. But sooner it's going to be, even the education is going to be out of a 5-6 day school or college, 2 days will be at school, or 3 or 4 days will be home learning. So that's how it is going to be. So I would sum it up. One, the technology progress and the sharing or gig economy. These are the major, top one, I would call as the factors that are influencing the world of work. So let's be prepared ourselves. Let's prepare our, children, our children, youngsters. Don't let them live with the dream of they're going to work for a company, for the next 20 years or 25. Of course, they're smart enough than us. I must say that these youngsters are smarter than us. So that's factor number one, the technology progress and the gig or sharing economy. That's one. Number two, the working space model, centralized, remote, decentralized versus the best of the world, best of the both worlds, the hybrid working. And the other important factor, and it's already been trending, is basically it is no longer a role-based work. It is going to be a skill-based work. It has actually been always been a skill-based work, but the emphasis has been more on a role, more than a skill. But since this sharing economy is going to be, booming in the years to come, multiple skills, cross-functional skills, and it is not necessarily only technical skills. It has to be those 21st century life skills need to be inculcated in our youngsters, in our children. These factors are going to play a key role in the work, in the world of work. So it's very important. I would urge all the viewers who are watching this, video, please take out some time, go through these, here we are trying to create that awareness, because there's a lot of information that you need to go and find out. I gave you references, World Economic Forum, McKinsey, Gartner, KPMG, all these, Forrester, Forbes. They conduct a lot of research and surveys and predictions, a lot of futurist, podcasts. Pick up whatever you like, from any of those. There's a lot of information available. This is all a reliable information. Please raise that awareness among yourself and then percolate down into our youngsters, our children, so that they are very much informed. They don't get into a surprise, because the mindset today is, I complete my engineering, in my 4th year, I get a campus selection. I'm going to get selected to Google, Microsoft, or X or Y or Z, or I'm going to go do my masters, and then I'm going to get a work permit to do. I'm going to get hired by these Cisco's or Oracles or these kind of companies, or for that matter, in any other sector. Those days are soon going to end. You will still work, but it's going to be sharing model. It's going to be on a freelance model. It is no longer one career, one role. It is multiple career, multiple roles. As many skills you have, as much of work you can do, the more you would enjoy. And it's also predicted these youngsters, one of the surveys have been predicted that, in our lifetime, as parents to these, teenage children these days, probably we would have switched, a couple of companies, or maybe 3 throughout that, 20, 25, 30 years of, large span of career. Now, the youngsters who are going to hit work starting 2025, or already started hitting work, world of work, they are going to change these roles pretty rapidly. For us, it is a big, huge transformation, huge change management. For them, it's very kind of dynamic. That's already been trending. And the youngsters over the last 5 to 8 years of time have been, we have been witnessing, especially in India, in the initial 5 years of their career, in that specific role, they would have changed at least 3 companies. That's how the trend has been. But that's again dangerous, because they are only looking for hopping from here to there without not really understanding the world of work transformation towards, which the factors what we actually discussed. So it's very crucial. My urge to all of them, all of you once again, is basically be aware, find out a reliable source from the references what I've quoted earlier, and read more details. This is basically, this conversation is icing on the cake.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole idea was to bring the top level awareness. Yeah, and that's exactly what we are trying to achieve. I mean, taking some cues from your answer. So the scope of work, or the way work is going to happen in future, obviously it is going to be skill based. Yeah. So as some of the futurists have predicted, what happened in the last 100 years is going to radically happen more rapidly in the next 10 years.
Absolutely.
So if that is the pace, which means that we don't even know what's going to pan out in the next 10 years actually. So which means that probably the skill which is relevant today may not be relevant 5 years down the line.
Absolutely.
So the young people have that mindset, should have the mindset that if you have learned something, fine. If you're able to use it, fine. Otherwise, you should also quickly be able to unlearn and relearn something new, which is going to be relevant for your survival. I think that is what is required, because what has happened, especially in the knowledge sector, is that skills which are repetitive in nature, or programs which are repetitive in nature, the AI and the machine learning will take over.
Absolutely.
There is no doubt about it. So what you need to really focus on is what are the skills which are required, for which human being is required, where human thinking is required, emotions are required, intelligence is required. That is where you need to continue to focus. And I don't think I think both of us don't even know what's going to pan out in the next 10 years, because we don't know what's going to be the
reality that time. And I'm sorry to chime in.
Yeah.
Dell Technologies have done an exhaustive research and surveys and all, and they have predicted that. And this is quite popular in the and in fact this tweet by Michael Dell, or his report submission to the world, has gone viral. This happened a few years ago. This is the crux of it. The jobs, 85% of the jobs which we are going to witness in 2030, we don't know what they are.
Absolutely.
85% of jobs in 2030 across the world are not known as on date. So that means we are preparing our children for the unknown future. Now, thinking that my son or daughter is a graduate or a postgraduate in this specific discipline, does that assure your child who's going to hit work, say about 5 to 6 years down the line, is it going to assure them a stable, progressive career or a reliable career? We don't know that as well. So it is relying upon these technical qualifications alone is going to be a counterproductive for our youngsters in the years to come. They have to build life skills, and we call them from a context called 21st century skills. What are those skills? Leadership, collaboration, team management, critical thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence. A lot of such skills which are very crucial, which are going to play a key role in having them adapt to these changes, and the change is unknown. So if you're prepared, and these are the skills that machines can never possess.
Yeah.
We don't know if that is going to happen down the line 20 years either.
No, obviously, I mean, you can't train a machine to think emotionally.
To be emotional, you know,
Yes.
at least that is not going to happen. At least as on date, we scan the technology, and you can't make a machine emotional.
I mean,
Right?
just to give a simplified understanding of what is a machine. Machine is basically thinking about 0 and 1. So for every question, the machine can think in zeros and ones, which means that it has got both ways to think. The only advantage of a machine is that it can think in a second billion number of times. Okay, but ultimately, the feeling what human being has, that feeling a machine cannot bring.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that emotion, that feeling is something which that is something which is very human, and that is something which we need to continue to develop upon in our children, and that's what I think Mr. Ramakrishna mentioned, that we need to keep inculcating the 21st century skills in our children.
Yeah.
Now that we have told that what is not known in the future, so we should also give a broad direction as to which are the broad direction in which people should go, so that there is a possibility of some kind of career path. Need not be a job, but at least a career path. And what could be those broad directions?
Yeah, absolutely. See, though we have a few minutes ago, though we have mentioned that, technical qualification alone cannot get us, where we want. That does not mean that technical qualification or the hard skill is going to become obsolete. Definitely not. You need to be a subject matter expertise, no doubt about it. Whether you want to be in a healthcare field, or you want to be in the information technology, or you want to be in the commerce area, or whatever area, one need to be a subject matter expert in that specific area, which they choose, whether it is a life science or pharmaceuticals, whatever it is, no doubt about it. But the way forward to look at what skill would be top 3 skills that are required for any role in this sector, in this field.
Yes.
That has to be looked upon very clearly. And do I possess that skill? Do I have a natural advantage? If not, can I inculcate, can I develop over the years? This has to be the thought shift which has to happen from only thinking of doing a specific academic program. And this has to start as early as possible, right from at least from an 8th grade onwards. It has to start. The skill development has to happen at least as early as 8th grade, if not earlier. And if you are a very open-minded parent or a grown-up, if you're going to start it at a 6th grade onwards, that's Very nice. But at least on an average, if a child can be given exposure to, right from an 8th grade onwards, on the skill development, what are those skills? What are my interests about careers? And what specific skills? I'm not talking about, okay, if I want to get into healthcare and medicine, then I have to be specialized with biology as my base academic qualification, which is fine. But is that alone sufficient? Do you have an empathy if you want to become a consulting surgeon? Did you build that empathy? Why? Let's take a very, very common example. Why not all the consulting medical practitioners are successful?
In equal level.
In equal level.
Yeah.
And when you want to go and consult a medical practitioner, who would you prefer? You won't go to anybody and everybody. You will take a lot of references. You will do a lot of enough background, reviews and all those checks, and see that somebody who has actually that empathy. It is in olden ways, it is said that 50% of your disease or claimed disease will be cured by an empathetic touch by a doctor.
Absolutely.
More than a medicine that you're actually intaking. Now that makes people successful, the medical practitioners successful. Now you are extremely good in biology as an academic subject. Wonderful. You're qualified from a hard skill standpoint. But by nature, as a person, are you empathetic enough? If you are not a people person, if you don't have empathy naturally, or if you don't make an effort to develop that empathetic skill, will you be successful? This was there earlier also. This is not something new. This is not some new rocket science that is invented. It was there earlier, but nowadays it has become a very crucial factor. Earlier, if you are a highly qualified person in that medical field, you have a job. Today, plus you have that empathy, otherwise you will be isolated. Absolutely. Now look at this another example of farming, which is like everybody, a lot of us from an Indian context, we take it for granted. A lot of youngsters, they don't even know how this farming happens and how our food grains are produced and all. And in the years to come, it is all precision farming, vertical farming. And how many of us really know that if you go to Japan and see, they grow paddy in ships. They don't have huge land space like we do.
That's
right. And like we do, they don't have huge farm fields like we do. Go to look at some of those, read about Israel, small country, not a huge country, but look at the level of farming they do, precision, vertical farming. You don't literally need a land to do farming in future. And it is going to be still organic.
Yeah.
And another example in the field of medicine and healthcare, the development of artificial heart is still in progress. So we soon are going to witness, for a patient whose heart becomes completely dysfunctional, can have an artificial heart in the years to come. And for those non-vegetarian friends who are watching these, in the years to come, the meat will be produced in laboratories. You're not going to butcher these animals any longer. It's called as a cultured meat.
Synthetic meat or whatever.
Yeah, it's a cultured meat, but with all the proteins, ingredients, all well taken care. But now the question is, how well it will work, it won't work. That there's a lot of debate going on. But this is the level of advancement. Earlier, I talked about IBM vaccine. For those friends who are aspiring to make their children, or the youngsters who are looking to become a legal professional. Mind you, many corners in the world, they've stopped hiring a legal advisor. They started buying these machines from IBM and other companies to give them a legal advice. Now, if you want to be successful in the profession of legal, you learn the skills of what makes it different of being a legal advisor versus an advocate. Your communication, your defending ability, your ability to understand your client's position.
Critical
it is not
thinking.
just, yeah, critical thinking. It is not just about which penal code, will it attract to that subject matter.
That AI will find out.
AI will find and tell you within no time. And then the references of the history of these, a similar case that AI will tell you.
Yeah.
But using all that information, how well can you defend your client, which a machine cannot do? So look at it. In one of my sessions with a group of education leaders, they were not ready to believe this. Then I had to give them references, go and read it, and talk to the organizations who have already started hiring these machines for a legal advice. More than a human being who is a qualified legal professional. Then they came back and said, sir, whatever you said is, it seems to be very, dangerous at the same time. That doesn't mean that, we're going to lose machines to jobs. It is said like this. It's again a paradigm most of us are in. Machines are going to come and stay, and they're going to take off those, repeat and mundane tasks kind of jobs. So most of us think that, if machines are going to come, they're going to replace, we may not have any work to do. No. Equal and more amount of new roles will be created, which we don't know yet. So you have to have a skill for that. So the future is going to be man plus machine.
Yeah.
You have to work besides a robot or a machine, which we have already started doing in some pockets. Look at the manufacturing sector. How much transformation has it happened? So those are some of the examples. And the point I would reiterate, what is the direction? The direction is very simple. If you want to make a career in a specific sector or in a specific field, pretty good. That's a good starting point. The first question which most of us would answer is, what academic qualification do I need if I want to make a career in this field or in this sector? Don't stop your thought or your direction only at that point. What skills do I need to develop? I'm not talking about hard skills. Your academic qualification, your technical qualifications will take care of that. What soft skill, what life skill do I have to develop? And if we don't pay attention to that, then I think we are not preparing our children, our youngsters enough.
Agreed.
And I'm sure in some of us who are in that mid-career and all, we would have already seen, that threat, or we would have already witnessed because of these technology advancements. In some organizations have been hard pushing those mid-career professionals to reskill themselves, unlearn and relearn, reskill yourself. Even reskilling is kind of an old, trend. It is unlearning and relearning.
Yes.
Completely you have to learn something new.
Yes. I will give a very interesting topic example. Mr. Ravi Kumar, who is from Infosys, he was speaking on a podcast recently, and I will refer that in the show note. What he's saying is that their requirement of manpower is actually increasing. So what they are thinking, apart from the normal way of recruiting people, what they have started doing experiment is that they have tried to train the bank teller executives, the people who are working as teller counters. They are training them to become the cyber security specialist or cyber security officers in the IT sector.
Okay.
So which means that it is totally unlearning what you know and relearning or learning something completely new.
Yeah, Absolutely. I
So
think
what they are thinking, they are actually trying to think, okay, what are the basic human skill these people have?
Right.
And can we train them to do something which is completely new? If this is the way things are going to go, I think we as parents have to understand this very clearly, that if we have that open mindset, that okay, so as parents, I know, I mean, even I have got two young children who have to get into some kind of career, so I can understand the pain of the frustration of the parents also. But if you look at broadly, what are the directions? See, first of all, the world today is 7.5 billion people, 750 crore people on this earth.
Yeah.
And by the end of this century, it is estimated that it will become 1100 crore. In India, we are about 1.45 crore, 1.45 billion, or about 145 crore people in India. And we will continue to grow. I think it is estimated that India will remain young, fairly young, till about 2050, 2060. So if we have so much of people across the world, obviously we will need food, we will need energy, we will need healthcare, and obviously the technology will only grow. So as parents, if we can broadly think about these sectors, then they will have a fairly good professional life. I mean, they may not get into a full-time job. I mean, they may start with a job, but then ultimately they will actually start doing multiple number of contracts as they go along, as they get a hang of what they are good at. So would you agree with that point?
No, absolutely. It is very important. I think in this series of videos, we were able to cover the factors and the evolving trends with some examples and references. Maybe it's a good idea to see what are those some of the future predicted careers. As a futuristic careers, maybe we could pick up some of those top 10 futuristic careers and then do another video on that.
Absolutely, I think we should do that.
So, yeah, maybe that actually calls for another topic as a continuation to this one. So
Absolutely.
That way, what happens is most of our viewers and of course all the grown-ups and youngsters, they get an idea. What are some of those careers? Everybody talks about futuristic careers and what have been predicted so far, though most of it is kind of unpredicted and it's kind of precarious. So I think we should, segmentize and then pick up some of those and then see 2030, how is it going to look like? What are these careers, typical roles? And
Absolutely.
2040, what are those typical roles? And what are actually going to, vanish from the landscape, from that work landscape, which has already happened.
Yeah.
I think I would urge, Mishra ji, maybe you want to consider that as another topic for one of our upcoming
definitely. I think
sessions.
We should do that. I think that really needs a much deeper conversation and much deeper discussion, and bring out the broad direction, so that people who are watching us and following us, they get a little more closer look as to what exactly they should be targeting with respect to career as an option going forward.
Absolutely.
But I think we really packed it today with a lot of information, and as always, you have been always very, very factful with a lot of data, a lot of research, and of course your articulation about any topic is fantastic. So I'm sure our viewers and listeners will greatly benefit from this conversation.
Absolutely.
I would like to thank you once again for investing your time today.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be with you, Mishra ji, and I think we should continue to do this. And thank you so much for having me once again here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. We sincerely wish you could take something from our conversation today and be able to apply it to your life in a positive way. We value your feedback. This can help us improve our future episodes. So share your thoughts to serve you better. If you want us to focus on a topic which you think is of importance, let us know. We will share our expertise in future episodes. So, see you soon with a new topic and help you in your career journey.